Everyone, and welcome to the Agentic Quality Podcast. I'm your host, Tatiana Arbuzova. And today I have Mary Pombares with me, who's an engineering leader who worked at Amazon Prime, NBCUniversal, and HBO, and has more than 15 years experience in quality engineering. Welcome, Mary.
Thank you so much, Tatiana, for having me. Just a little bit about myself. I have about 18 years of experience in quality engineer. Like most of us, I started as a developer, and from there, my career shifted more into test automation, quality engineer, and I had different roles in different industries, from healthcare to digital entertainment, pharmaceutical, biomedical, like you name it. Different roles such as QA management. I went all the way up to vice president of quality engineer and process for Echelon Feed. And I've worked at companies like Amazon Music, HBO, NBCUniversal. So I'm really proud to be here with you today, Tatiana. It's such an honor.
That's amazing. And aren't we all fall in quality by accident a lot of times, right? I also ended up in quality by accident just because Microsoft hired me and decided I'm going to be a tester. And then I'm stuck for 25 years. So glad to have you today as a guest. I want to jump right in and talk about AI adoption. So, in your experience with AI adoption, what surprised you the most?
I mean, what surprised me the most was that I believe organizations, there's a lot of hype and a lot of tools which are amazing and very innovative. However, we are forgetting the basics of process engineering, right? What surprised me the most is definitely jumping into different tools without having use case prioritization in mind. The first question that we need to ask is what problem, what challenges are we trying to solve? In this specific case, in testing, what are we trying to solve in the testing organization? And once we have those use cases prioritized and we understand and we have the right foundation, which you're going to talk a little bit later, uh, then we can jump into what tools are we going to use for a particular use case, right? For instance, test engineers, they spend a lot of time creating test cases. I've worked in organizations with more than 100 testers that were reporting to me that they were taking sometimes the entire sprint to create test cases, to make sure that they are cover the right age test cases, that they are approved by product or engineer or key stakeholders. And with the AI tools now, we can simplify this process, right? But we need to understand, what are we trying to solve? Are we trying to improve test creation? Are we trying to improve the quality? Are we trying to improve defect leakage? What is it? And that's the question that I like to answer before any adoption.
I've definitely heard a lot about the push to use AI for the sake of using AI. So, and thank you for calling this out. So, before we start applying AI, asking ourselves what exactly we're trying to solve. Like that's exactly right. And what have you seen organizations try to solve with AI, or what should they solve with AI?
I think AI is, I wouldn't say that it's almost the same as automation. Is definitely one of the biggest innovations that we've seen in our times. But I think most of the times we're trying to improve time to market. We want to do things faster and more efficiently, and we are trying to improve the product quality, right? That's like one of the main things that we are trying to improve. So, however, in order to do so, there's some fundamentals that we need to have in place. Example, testing teams, they need testing environments. They need the foundation to be there, right? They need good environments for them to test different platforms, either is web, mobile, or API. And if we don't have those environments in place, then all the other efforts are not going to be as efficient.
Yeah,
So,
that's right. That's one of the things, right? It's kind of like trying to speed up the test development, but if they keep being flaky because of the environment's instability, then what's the point of building more tests? You're not really building more confidence, right? So
Definitely.
what are some of the other things that you think have to be there, before we could speed up
Yeah.
automation with AI?
Uh, test test management, test data, it's a big one, right? Most of the testing teams, they depend on test data for some type of testing, either is web, mobile, or microservices. A lot of organizations that I've worked with, we're still struggling with the test data processes, especially if we are talking about very high regulated environments. So you don't have your environments, you don't have your test data, it becomes a very challenge to scale AI. And what I've seen is that AI ends up exposing all these challenges, right? As we add the more tools, we become more efficient in automation, our metrics are going to tell a story, and most of the times it's going to be, they're going to expose the challenges that we currently have.
So after establishing the foundations, which is very important before we bring in AI and try to speed things up. So what are the metrics do you think they're there to measure the AI effectiveness or AI adoption?
Oh, that's a very good point. Right now, before I answer to your question, right now we focus a lot in vanity metrics. We want to know how many test cases AI was able to produce, how many prompts were generated using AI, how many scripts were created using AI. And those metrics, I call vanity metrics because they make us feel good. They make us feel like adoption is working properly. Because if we were able to generate thousands of test cases using AI, maybe it tells us a story that we are doing a good job. But in reality, that Tatiana, it goes back to product quality, right? How many defects leakage we had? Are we improving the quality of our product, right? And I think escape the defects is a good metric to measure that. Also, like the cycle time, are we improving speed, which is very important, right, in a business environment? Uh, how long is it taking for us to create a test case to test and deliver to production? I think those are some of the metrics. Pretty much the metrics that I would focus are the ones that help us understand the quality of the product. What type of product are we delivering? Are we trending positively or are we trending negatively?
So basically, the AI should help us meet the end-to-end KPIs, business KPIs, right? Like time to production or escape defects. So those are very important metrics. And so you're saying as we are adapting AI, then don't forget that that's the end goal. The end
That's
goal
the
is
end
to
goal.
speed up the time to market and avoid the escape defects, right? So keep measuring that rather than adding the coverage and adding the test cases.
Yeah,
um, that
that
makes a lot of sense. Uh-huh.
that's correctly. But what I've seen instead is definitely us trying to share a lot of vanity metrics with the senior leaders, and again, you said it spot on. What we should be measuring. Let's focus on the outcomes, the quality, customer satisfaction, right? Even the number of incidents in production. Some incidents might be caused by some of escaped defects. So let's look at our customer impact improvement and our product quality improvement, and I think we should be on the right track.
Amazing. Um, and as AI becomes more capable, what skills do you think our test organization needs to develop?
Oh my God, that's definitely a good, very, very, very good question. Right now, with automation, let's just go back a little bit to automation, right? When we start doing automation and we were in a hype of automation, one of the goals of many organizations was to automate 100% of the test cases and replace manual testers with automation. And I don't believe we were successful to do that because the conclusion is that automation complements manual testing, and there's certain test cases that is worth probably doing manually. I think as we evolve with AI, manual testers, there's a lot of tasks that are gonna definitely be replaced by AI tools, such as creating test cases, even generating comprehensive test plans, even analyzing those test cases and bug creation. However, I think the role of quality engineer is shifting more into risk assessment. Like quality engineers are going to have to be extremely good with the risk assessment, and also like the ability to test the AI systems in itself using different other techniques such as hallucination, bias, how secure is the system, and also like it's gonna is I believe like the role is gonna change more into trust engineer and quality strategy instead of creating all those repetitive tasks that we were used to do it.
Yeah, I agree with you that I think that the manual testers have more opportunities now because they could use AI to create these tests, right? So their ability to think and to understand the business logic is more valuable. So, have you seen the manual testers now being more empowered in the quality organizations and maybe transition into using AI to create the test automation?
I definitely see a lot more empowerment, but I still see a lot of adoption and people trying to understand what my role is. Like what I've seen is the technical people are definitely all in with AI, and manual testers are still kind of like trying to understand how am I going to use all these tools that are offered to me, right? We are still using the tools for the repetitive tasks, but we need to shift into, as I mentioned, trust engineering, the capability for risk assessment, and just trying to understand the business logic. I think that's going to be very fundamental, right? Because the way the speed of AI is going, some amazing tools can do a lot of things that we are doing manually now.
Yeah, we definitely need to learn new skills. Everyone needs to learn new skills. The manual testers need to understand how AI works and potentially leverage it for test automation, right? The test automation engineers also need to learn to do a lot of these things. So,
Yeah.
any ideas for the how the teams can empower their
Mm,
engineers to learn these things?
Yeah, I think we should focus in two distinct areas. There's like testing with AI, which is pretty much using the AI tools that are currently in the market, or some open source tools and capabilities like integrating Playwright with MCP Server and Copilot and so forth. And there's like testing AI systems. And I think these are two different skills, right? Because we are using AI testing tools to help us generate test cases, testing strategies, and so forth to analyze the results. But then sometimes we are building LLMs that we need to evaluate, right? So we need to become very good strategic in how we're going to evaluate those evolves, right? And now we go into a different topic of hallucination, bias test cases, and even security becomes very important. Like, is our LLM doing what it's supposed to do? So it's like two different areas, but there's a lot of opportunities, and I see a lot of maybe role changes or name changes. Maybe we won't be called quality engineers anymore in the future, but I see definitely a shift and a lot of opportunities within quality engineer.
Yeah, testing agentic systems and testing AI is a completely different ballgame, right?
Yeah,
It's a
yeah,
now
definitely.
non-deterministic systems versus what we're used to. And like you mentioned, risk assessment, that's what it's becoming, right? It's no
Yeah.
more does it work or it doesn't work, does it pass or fail? It's more of a what is the confidence level in each specific feature or in each specific agent? So can you tell us more about that? How do you evaluate the systems and what does that risk assessment looks like?
Okay, so When we talk about AI systems, right, it's almost like we want to understand how to test AI evolves. I have like a very kind of like a quick high level framework that I'm working on and definitely would love to share. But one of the things that we should definitely do is like define what good looks like, right? Whatever system we are testing, we need to define. It's almost like when we were testing functional features, and we need to understand the input and expected results of that feature. With AI valves, it's similar, right? We need to understand what good and looks like, and then we build like an evaluation data set. We create pretty much like a golden data set that reflects like real world usage. Like we have the input as a user and expected outcome. So we pretty much want to understand like a customer asks us for a refund policy example. What would be the expected outcome? Like it would be like the correct refund policy. So it's similar, it's like a different, it's not deterministic like regular functional testing, but we still need to set those boundaries of what good looks like. And we need to still have like a data set of input and expected outcome. And also like we can also automate those AI evolves, right? So that's when the AI automation tools that we were talking about will come into place as well. And then there's like the human evaluation aspect of it. Right now, when we are testing a lot of AI systems, we have to deal with the hallucinations. Like, so the more data, the more we train the system, the less hallucinations we have. We also have to deal with the bias. We need to really make sure that the system is secure. So there's also like a lot of human evaluation into that. Like I wouldn't say that right now it's 100% automation. Definitely the role of trust engineers or quality engineers is very important when we evaluating AI evolves. And then there's something called like the red team testing, which actively try to break the model and find the weaknesses, right? So we still need to, it's almost like edge case scenarios when we're trying to do negative testing. We do a lot of that when we're doing AI evolves. And we also have to do regression testing. So it's different strategy, but similar mindset in terms of making sure that we understand what requirements or looks good look like, and we need to evolve the system, and also we need to make sure that we're doing full regression testing to make sure that those AI evolves are working as expected. So just in a nutshell, that's how I would test AI evolves.
It sounds like still a lot of work for testers, right? To do, someone has to do all of this. So,
Yeah.
um, I'm guessing we'll still have a job in the near future.
I'm
Uh,
not worried about it for sure. Like I've seen a lot of LinkedIn posts on how rest in peace, QA engineers, QA leaders, and so forth. But as we evolve with AI, I just see like our job becoming even more interesting and needed. Maybe the job description might change. I agree with that. We have to evolve, but there's always going to be a human aspect needed to test some of the AI systems.
and so, in addition to testing the AI systems, what else do you think is in the near future, like 2, 3 years? What would our profession look like? Do you have a prediction?
I don't believe we're gonna be doing test cases for sure. Like, and I don't believe we're gonna be scripting a lot of automation. This is a very high debate because I do know a lot of people that are very passionate in building a very innovative automation framework, but I just feel like we're going to be using a lot of tools to help us with the day-to-day task, but definitely uh, understanding the business logic and being able to do a risk assessment is going to be very key. But definitely test cases is something that even now today, using just a tool like ChatGPT, we're able to generate thousands of test cases. Do we blindly start testing those test cases without human interaction and verifying that those are really testing the critical features? No, we still need to verify those, but they're helping us with that. So I think it goes back to what I said, Tatiana. From quality engineer is going to be more like trust engineering. People are going to rely on us to make sure that the AI systems that are going to production are working as expected.
Thank you for sharing your perspective there. And so we talked about what is quality engineering is going to look like in the future. So I wanted to ask you, what is your advice to quality leaders who are going through the AI adoption journey? What would you recommend them do? What's your advice for them?
I am a process engineer by heart, and I know a lot of people don't like processes, but start by identifying your use cases, your problems. What are you trying to solve? Like, what are the main challenges that your organization is facing, right? As I mentioned before, I have led organizations with more than 100 testers, where creating a test case for a particular release could take an entire sprint. 2 week sprint or week sprint, you name it. So try to identify what are really the problems, what are your pain, the biggest pain. And once you identify those use cases, try to prioritize. Don't do everything at once. Create a pilot, pick a team, please, and try to use that team as a pilot. And once you're successful in your pilot, in your metrics, then scale throughout the organization. And I think a lot of mistakes is pretty much trying to deploy the tools across different teams, different verticals, and sometimes different teams have different issues. They are testing different features. Some are backend, others are front end, and by doing so, you won't be able to see the benefits, the return on investment. So pick your use cases, prioritize, pick a pilot team, and go from there. And don't
I think that
forget the tools. There's a lot of tools too in the market, right? So I don't want to like discard the tools. There's a lot of great tools, but also pick like 2 to 3 tools, do like an evaluation analysis, and go from there. Don't just go and start buying and implementing different tools and trying to solve different test cases.
that's a fabulous advice. And then what would you say to the quality engineers in today's market? What should they focus on right now?
Try to learn as much as you can about AI, right? I don't believe that the quality engineers' job are not needed. I think they're actually going to become more important than ever before. But the people that understand AI, how to test AI evolves, and how to use the tools are going to be the ones that will have more opportunities. So try to learn as much as possible, like we all doing, and you should be just fine. Yeah.
Thank you. And if people want to connect with you, where should they reach out to you if they want to continue the conversation?
LinkedIn. I think I'm very active these days. I'm also like I know not everybody can travel, but I'm becoming very active in speaking. Like I've had those invitations for many years and I was always too busy. But now I'm intentionally doing more speaking engagements and have a few invitations coming up and yeah, like so I hope to, be able to meet different people.
Hopefully, we'll see you at one of the events in the future.
Definitely, Tatiana. And just before we end, I mean, you're such an inspiration. And honestly, the last Innovate QA event in Seattle, I I got so many like feeds on that event, and congratulations, Tatiana. You are doing
Thank
such
you.
a great job.
Appreciate it. And you were a great speaker at our Atlanta event. So I definitely hope that we'll see you at one of our future events. Hopefully in Boston, who knows?
Okay, who
Uh,
knows?
Back in Atlanta. Well, thank you, Mary, so much for being with us today and sharing your perspectives.
All right, thank you, Tatiana.